The Full Glass and the Hollow Reed. This is a story about a full glass man. He was filled with water, and it was all muddied because of his self-importance and greed. He was always stamping and pointing and telling people what to do. But the children paid no attention. Instead, they looked at each other's funny faces through the water in his glass. Sadly, the children did not have any clean water to drink. The river which flowed into their village had dried up. The glass man liked the challenge and wanted to make the children happy. He would climb the highest mountain, find the source of the river, and discover what was wrong. He set off early the next morning as the sun was rising and headed towards the forest, which lay in the foothills of the mountain. He brought his hat and stick with him, but left behind his map and compass, because he was sure he would find the way. He spent all morning walking in the forest until he realized that he'd been walking in one big circle. He ended up where he had been before, at the stepping stones over the dried up riverbeds by the weeping willow tree. So here you can see this is where the river used to flow. It's all dried up, and there were the stepping stones going over the river. He kept on walking for another hour, but once again found himself back at the willow tree. This time he became very hot and bothered, so he removed his cap and let off some steam. While he followed the circular path for the third time, thinking about how important and smart he was, he suddenly realized that maybe he was not so clever after all, to have come out without a map, compass, or phone. The sun blazed down onto his bare head, and the water inside him evaporated. His ears became clearer. The next time he reached the willow tree, he could hear the beautiful music which filled the air. As he listened to the music, he felt a ripple in his tummy. He scratched his head and wondered why this beautiful melody reminded him of a time when he was happy, before he had become hard and solid. Instead of jumping over the stepping stones again, he moved off the path and walked along the dried up riverbeds, following the call of the music. Sometimes he had to clamber over large boulders. Bravely he kept going, knowing that if he fell, he would shatter into a million tiny shards. Eventually he found the source of the music. A hollow reed lady was sitting in a clearing in the woods, playing the beautiful music through her hollow reed body. Glass Man became spellbound by the beauty of the music. The other reeds swayed in time with the rhythm, whilst the flowers sang along in harmony. During the night, even the spheres of the planets seemed to be aligned with music, and the water in Glass Man's body turned into a kaleidoscope of patterns. In the morning, Hollowreed finished playing the music and turned to greet Glass Man. She saw the beauty of her melodies reflected in the clear water of his glass, and was moved to share the secret of her music with him. She said how lonely she had felt since being separated from the reed bed. She sang songs of longing to return. She said that all she had to do to discover this music was to empty herself of all selfish thoughts. Then the angels circling above were able to play music through her. She offered to lead the Glass Man to the source of the river using guidance from the angels. They could see the best route out of the forest because they were flying above the trees. Glass Man thanked his new friend. He noticed that he felt humble and grateful. It was a nice feeling. He let Hollowreed lead him out of the forest and through a high mountain pass. Near the summit of the mountain, they reached the end of a glacier, which was melting to form a stream. They found that someone had built a trench and dam, so the stream was redirected towards other distant lands. And here you can see there's the glacier melting to form the stream, and there's the dam. So the stream goes down that way to those lands, rather than coming this way. They removed the dam so that the stream would flow in two directions, and there would be enough water for everyone in both lands to share. They walked back down the mountain feeling happy. Glass Man had achieved his mission, and Hollowreed had overcome her loneliness. From that day onwards, Frau Glass listened to the children and joined in with their games. The river flowed into the village, bringing fresh water, and the children had a party to celebrate. Hollowreed was their guest of honor and led the procession. This story was inspired by this quotation. O God, make me a hollow reed, from which the pith of self hath been blown, so that I may become as a clear channel, through which thy love may flow to others. Thank you for listening. The end.